So in this video, I'm going to talk about an idea that I have been kind of ruminating on for the past like year or so, but it has become much more prominent in the past few months. It's about how money increases or like kind of like influences the level of consciousness we have. This is something that I'm guessing anyone that watches this video can relate with. You probably had been in times where you were in a lot of like financial stress. A lot of things might have been going wrong, and that is why like that stress itself from not having the money or having too many debts might have like taken up so much of your focus that it actually raises or like it pulls down your consciousness. It takes away your ability to think clearly. It makes you desperate. It makes you so much more, I would say, inefficient. Just having that large chunk of stress take up most of our focus. Now, this is something I have experienced time and time again over the few years, and this is something that I have dealt with. I've been in times where I've been broke multiple times. I've been in times where I've had ridiculous amount of money for my age. And the thing is, since I was so not grounded in a spiritual sense, I let whatever happened with my financial situation, let it affect me mentally and emotionally. And that kind of affected the physical aspect too, you know. And the thing I kind of got to realize is that if you are someone that is struggling financially, having like money to meet your basic needs, just your basic needs will alleviate a lot of problems that you think you have right now. A lot of money problems. I mean just i mean just gotta be honest with you. How much money do you even need, right? It depends on what kind of situation you are in, if you have debt or not, what kind of country you live in, how expensive that is. But for me, I've been living in India, and reasonably, if right now I live in Mumbai. I moved out of my house a few months ago, and the cost here to live has been around like a little over 1k, one a grand per month. I'm talking in USD. The thing is, it has been fine, you know, 1k it's fine. But the thing is, when I was living back in my home city, which was Calcutta or Kolkata now, I was like spending barely 15 to 20,000 rupees, or that's like I think $200 on my expense. That was my whole expense because I was living in my parents' house, and most of my expenses and needs were taken care of. I mean, I still paid my part and helped the family out, but it was still nothing compared to having to pay rent here and living out by my own. I mean, it's worth it. Living on your own is definitely worth it. But what I got to realize over the time, as I had different expenses and as I made more money, was that it like just having more money, having your basic needs taken care of, increases the level of clarity you have in your mental thought powers. It increases how clearly you are able to think and how efficient of a thinker you are. Because if you don't have money, the only thing you are thinking about is money, which is kind of good and bad because it can give you that desperate energy where you need to work your ass off to actually get money. But it also is a bad place to come from because you kind of zone in on like short term things. You need money now, you need money fast because your situation is so desperate. And that cuts you off from all the long term perspective that actually will reward you more than any short term goal. You know, that's the same thing with anything in life. No matter what kind of venture, what kind of thing you're trying to do, just shooting for the long term goal, which will probably be a lot bigger goal than the short term one. You will be able to think clearly if you have your money needs taken care of, and you will be able to do a lot more. I'm not sure if I can explain it as clear. Okay, let me explain it as clearly as I can. So here's the thing. for example, if, like I said, if you're someone struggling with money, if you just have your money needs taken care of, like basic needs, I just want you to calculate what are your basic needs. You can just calculate with your calculator or whatever. Do you have debts? How much do you need month and monthly payments to take care of it? What's your living expense? What's your rent? What's your food costs? Grocery. Don't eat out. Eat healthy. Because I think I will make another video on this. But eating healthy instead of eating out will completely unlock a new level of consciousness. Just like having more money than you think. It's not about eating healthy. It's about what you put in your body. It's the nutrients that you put in your body, and that makes a considerable difference that you can really see in yourself. If you have I know a lot of people say, oh, I feel it's the same way, whatever I eat. The problem with that is those kind of people lack general awareness of how their body operates, because unless they are an alien or they are some sort of abnormal freak who has like completely different organs from me or you and everybody else, it is very unlikely that your body functions differently than mine. Our biology is the same. So if we put the same food in our body, we are going to get similar, and it's not exactly the same, but similar results. Okay. And the thing is, if you put junk food in your body, like I tried out for a long time, I mentally felt sluggish. I couldn't think clearly. I couldn't. I'll probably make a video on this, but just for short, I'm going to skip on this topic. But cut out sugar. It will massively improve your willpower and your ability to sit down and focus on the long term stuff that actually brings you money. Anyway, so money raises your level of consciousness. I can't even pronounce with a heavy Indian accent, but it raises your level of consciousness. So you can think clearly, you can do more, but that is only limited up till the amount of your basic needs. Okay, and there is also, you can also bypass that, like spiritually, by kind of going deep into your spiritual inner essence. But that is like, if you do that and you completely bypass even meeting your basic needs, you will live like a beggar. Like most spiritual gurus that live in a temple, they don't really have any needs to take care of. You will literally fall apart in modern society. I don't think that is a good way to go about ways. I think you need to have one foot in the physical and one foot in the spiritual, which is like actually working for the money that you need to meet your basic needs, and also work spiritually so you don't need the money to feel good, happy, or think clearly. Like money, sure, the thing is, we are so attached to the money itself that it influences so much of our thinking capabilities. And the thing with, I think there's this program, it's called 40 Years of Zen. I heard it from the first time from Alex Baker in one of his videos. I'm not sure. I think it was like, this is on increasing your IQ or whatever. And this program, it's called 40 Years of Zen. It costs like, I think, 20 grand for a 5-day program. And it eventually, like the results they promise is increase in IQ, increase in your cognitive abilities and whatever. And the thing is, I looked at one vlog from a guy that actually took the program, and what I found out was it was mostly stuff in the program was mostly to do with meditation. I mean, they have scientific ways to do that. They plug you in machines and everything, so it's actually a faster process than actually doing it yourself. And they say that you get the same results as meditating in a cave for 40 years in 5 days, which is kind of crazy. I mean, it's worth the money. If I'm spending 20 grand to get something like this, it's definitely worth my time, money, investment, everything. But yeah, if what I saw in the whole process was that they like help you meditate faster. So if you just meditate, you can achieve the same results over a long period of time. Second thing, they help you with trauma release. They actually help you, I'm not exact on the details, but they actually help you, like they actually tell you to forgive people in your life. There's a lot of those. See, the thing is, like consciousness, with the amount of consciousness we have, a lot of it goes into suppressing our shadow, which is what Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, came up with. The idea of shadow. It's the parts of ourselves that we find negative, we find unacceptable, and a lot of your consciousness actually goes into suppressing that without even you knowing it. The thing is, through that trauma release, through all the processes that are shown in like 40 years of Zen, they actually show you how to reclaim parts of your shadow, so your consciousness doesn't has to work overtime to hold it down or keep it out of sight. So you have more of your consciousness to actually use and operate on the things you like. And it's like, for example, if I wanted to use a computer analogy, it's like you have, let's say, 16 GB of RAM in your computer, and let's say 4 GB of that is spent on a virus. It just runs in your background, or it's maybe not even a virus, it's like a useless program that runs in your background and eats up your 4 GB of RAM. So you only have like 12 GB, and there's like two more other programs like that. For most people it's usually like that. For most people that have like very complicated out here, but if for if you're someone that is not used to computer programming, you will probably not understand what I'm saying. But let's say, like I said, if you have 16 GB of RAM, let's say everyone has 16 GB of RAM. A lot of people have, let's say, 10 GB of that completely used up by unknown programs that are running in the backgrounds that they don't even know of. The thing is, unless you turn off the programs, unless you kill the programs, which is looking at your shadow work, and looking at your shadow and reclaiming parts of it, you are not going to get that amount of data that is being used back. And that means you will have to work on a limited amount of data. That means if 8 GB of data is used on background programs, 4 GB, or how much is that? 8, and you will only have like 8 GB of memory to actually work with in your computer. That will completely slow down your computer. You can feel the difference. If you start up a game, you will feel the difference. If you start video editing, you'll feel the difference in how slow it is acting. And if you just cut out all the background programs that are not helping you, you will get that 16 GB back, and you will use that on, let's say, video editing, playing games, or whatever it is, and you will see how much more faster your computer runs. And that is the same with your brain. Your brain, some of the consciousness is actually going down and holding down the shadow parts of yourself. And the thing is, why am I talking about this? I'm going completely on a trip, but let's say you have no money. Let's say you have no money and you have no way to pay your next bill, your next necessity. Maybe you have to pay for your family members' bills or whatever. Maybe you have to pay off a debt, whatever that is, and you have no way. Now, what happens usually is almost all of your consciousness, except a little bit, goes into thinking about, what bad will happen. That's where anxiety comes from. Usually that's where stress comes from, because your consciousness is completely focused on, how is this going to turn out? We are going to die, this is going to happen, that is going to happen. It's only focusing on the bad things, and that kind of ruins your mental powers, in the sense that you cannot think properly. That is why poor people stay poor, because most of their consciousness is not only held down by trauma. Trauma is a big thing. It holds down everyone, rich, poor, everyone. And not only they have the additional trauma baggage. If you're someone that has like trouble succeeding in life, in financially, emotionally, whatever sense it is, you probably are being held down by trauma, by your shadow, by a lot of things that you are unaware of, that you are unconscious of. Now, unless you work on these things, unless you let go of your attachment to money, your consciousness is only going to be taken over by these things, and you cannot think clearly. If you cannot think clearly, you cannot achieve anything in life. That is a very important thing to understand. If you cannot achieve anything in life, you're going to stay in the same cycle of stress, desperation, anxiety that you have been living in. That is why money raises your level of consciousness. Sure, yes, but you can also let go of your attachment to money, become kind of a monk, and still work towards money. I'm not saying let go of the attachment and become a monk, completely live in the Himalayas or whatever. I'm saying you can let go of the attachment and actually still go after money, but in this sense, you will not come from a place of desperation. You will come from a place of inspiration. You will be able to think more clearly. You will be able to um, think on a long-term basis. You can actually do like things so clearly. I like if you are someone that has been stuck in all the issues that I mentioned so far related with money, you're not going to be able to think you're not going to be able to relate to the level of thinking that people that don't have this problem. This is why the rich get richer, because they are able to think on a different level compared to you. That's the only difference. They think differently than you. That's why their actions are different. Now, if you just have same set of if you just let go of your trauma, that is something you can work on. It will take a little bit of time, maybe a few months, a year, maybe 2 years. If you consistently work on letting go of your trauma, you have the internet at your fingertips. Just Google trauma release. How does that work? How does everything work out? Internet is free. The knowledge is free. Everything you can find on internet you can find the free version, and it will solve majority of your life problems. I mean, if you want to fast track your growth, definitely hire someone, hire a mentor, hire a professional therapist, or someone that is experienced in dealing with trauma. Definitely go about that way. But if you are someone that is struggling with money, look up the free resources, put in some work, let go of your trauma, release it. Look into shadow work. Look at your shadow. Look at what you are avoiding unconsciously. Reclaim parts of your consciousness that is going down and holding a part of you down and keeping it away from you. Once you take those back, and once you let go of your attachment to money, and that requires a level of acceptance that is not going to happen in an instant. It's not going to happen like that. It takes time. That's why there's no magic pill. That's the thing. There's no magic pill. If you want a magic pill, click off this video and go to transfer from WhatsApp. There's no magic pill. You have to do the hard work. And this all of the stuff I mentioned, trauma release, shadow work, actually learning to accept money, so diving into spirituality. I'm not saying go 100% into that. Like, take action, sure, live in the physical world, like I said, but also dive into spirituality, also look into other stuff like this. And once you actually understand all of this stuff, once you reclaim parts of your consciousness back, your level of vibration goes up. You will be able to think more clearly. You will have a lot more motivation. You will be able to do so much more in life than you ever thought you could. For example, for me, right now I live in Mumbai. Like I said, I moved out of my parents' house. And the thing is, my level of consciousness right now is completely insane compared to how I was 6 months back. Now, I'm not saying this is completely attributed to the moving out of my parents' house, but it contributed to it was like a butterfly effect. Like, moving out of the parents' house made me realize how much freedom and how much self-autonomy I actually have, how much I could actually achieve. Just being able to sit down with my own thoughts and work on my business for hours on end, and just focus on a few things in life that actually matter. And since I started doing that again and again, my consciousness started going up. I faced a lot of challenges. I had a lot of downs in the last few months, a lot of downs, a lot of ups, and it has sort of stabilized to the point my consciousness right now, even if everything goes to shit, I can somewhat manage, and I can somewhat think work my way out of it. But it was not possible before. And it only happened because I've been working on trauma release, shadow work, letting go of my attachment to money. These are all important things in life that everyone, I think, most people don't know about. Most people die with their shadow, without knowing their shadow, without knowing what they were resisting, without knowing what they were hiding from the world, because they thought it was unacceptable. You have to accept the unacceptable parts of yourself. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to live to your fullest self. You're not going to be your whole self. You're not going to feel as happy as you could. You're not going to feel as motivated as you could. And you are not going to be able to achieve your highest life potential if you just do what you have been doing so far. For example, I want you to look back at the past 5 years of your life. It's probably likely that it didn't go the way that you wanted to. And here's a surprise. The next 5 years of your life is going to be the same as your past 5 years if you do not make the change right now, if you do not work on trauma release, shadow work, spirituality, and actually taking massive action in the spiritual world. And the thing is, I'll end this video with a story here. Like I said, when back I've changed so much ever since I was back at my home. What kind of changes am I talking about? It's like the kind of urges, the kind of addiction I used to have. I had a video game addiction, whether you like it or not. That's the only addiction I had. I didn't watch porn or whatever. I didn't never fapped over anything, but I only had a video game addiction, and I was so addicted to it because the thing I got to realize recently is because it gives me a sense of progress, and that was the thing I was missing in my business. Since my business was so stagnant over the few years, it was not growing as fast as it could, and because I was constantly comparing myself unconsciously without knowing, I'm kind of contradicting myself. Since I was contradicting myself with people that were so far ahead of me in business, that were achieving so much more than me, I thought I had to get results faster. I was constantly jumping from one thing to another, from one venture to another. I had shiny object syndrome. I had like that ruined my progress so much more than anything that I could think of. And that only happened because I was so addicted to video games, and that gave me the only sense of progress, because my testosterone is very high right now. I constantly and frequently do testosterone tests. I optimize my health. I work out very hard. I do MMA. I've been winning competitions. I've been working hard in every aspect of my life. And that helped me increase testosterone, and that helped. Like the thing with men in general, I cannot talk about women. I've never lived to be a woman or anything. The thing with men in general, if you have a high testosterone, you need real feedback real fast. Otherwise, it makes you boring. It makes you not boring. It gives you boredom. It makes work unfulfilling. If work is not something that you find fulfilling, it's because you are not seeing feedback in real time. And since I started doing like YouTube and whatever, I've been seeing real feedback real time. Like I've been improving how I speak. I'm not talking about the amount of subscribers or the amount of views I have. I'm talking about how I speak, how I look at the camera, and I am able to hold a single thought for hours on end. I'm able to talk on a topic without actually preparing for it. For example, this video topic, it just came to my mind before, like 10 minutes before I started recording this video, and I thought like, why shouldn't I record it? And I started doing it. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's been 22 minutes so far, and it's going to go completely unfiltered on my second channel, maybe on my main channel or whatever. Let me get back to my point, which was like my story. I was completely addicted to video games. Now since I was addicted because I needed progress, and that like ruined my like urge to actually get stuff done in work. Now since I did shadow work, and since I started to understand why this was happening, it only happened I got the awareness from shadow work, and since I got to know that, I changed how I looked at business, how I operated in business. And these days when I wake up, the first thing I do is jump right into my business. I get to work. I get to what's needed to get done in the first thing. And that's why I'm recording this video right now. Maybe I'll probably record another video after this. I've recorded 3 shorts already so far. I have so much more to do, and I want to do this. It's not coming from a place of desperation, it's coming from a place of inspiration. And that only happens when you have a high level of consciousness, which only happened because I took the time to actually sit down and do all the inner work I mentioned. And it wouldn't have happened if I was living in stress with money. So that's why my advice to you, if you're watching this video, if you're someone that suffers from money issues, spend at least 80% of your time actually doing the work. I'm not talking about consuming content. There are a million videos out there on how to make money, this and that. Choose one thing, get a course, get a mentor, double down, and just work your ass off. Okay, that is why I told you that getting a mentor is a shortcut. It's a little cheat code. You will have someone to actually guide you and give you a process. Because the thing is, if you are someone that is living in low consciousness, if you're someone that suffers from low consciousness, you cannot think clearly. If you cannot think clearly, you cannot see the map, see the territory properly. You have a map in your brain. You have a like mental model of how things work that is not accurate. That is why you are not getting the results that you want. That is why getting a mentor helps, because if you just get a mentor and he tells you what to do, you just execute on that and you will get the results. It's very likely you will get the results if you execute like ruthlessly. I mean, it also depends on the mentor. There are a lot of variables. Like I said, life is not such a so black and white thing. But if you get a mentor, if you just work on your money, 80% of your time, put on money, 20% put on inner work, look into trauma release, start doing meditation for 20 minutes a day, at least 20 minutes a day. Push it to an hour, 2 hours if you can. Just focusing on a breath. Read books like The Mind Illuminated, Power of Now, New Earth. Like dive into spirituality in the rest of your time, and dive into work the rest of your time, and really optimize your work. If you're a high testosterone man, optimize your work so you get real feedback in real time, and that will make work much more motivating for you. You will see real time data, and you will get to work every day because you are seeing progress from your own input. Okay, and that's pretty much the gist of the video. I've recorded for about 20 minutes. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you find this kind of videos helpful, let me know what you want to hear from me the next time, because I usually come by video ideas like this after like thinking about things, or like just living life in general. So I am severely lacking on the amount of video ideas I have right now. So if you give me one, that will be very much helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.